Hey there, class. This week we're going to talk about unity and variety. Unity brings cohesiveness to a design. It is the glue that binds everything together. Designers create unity within a piece, line, or collection by the use of color, line, shape, texture, pattern, and silhouette. In this lecture, we're going to focus on how color, variety, and the Gestalt principles are used to create unity. The Gestalt principles addresses the question of how individuals perceive the complex scenes around them that consist of many groups of objects against the background. Gestalt is also known as the law of simplicity, meaning that every stimulus is perceived in its simplest form. Psychologists concluded that the information we visually intake is understood holistically, meaning as a whole, before it is examined separately. Viewers organize visual elements into unified wholes by using the following approaches. Similarity. This occurs when objects appear similar. The viewer's mind links elements that share visual characteristics such as line, shape, and color. Grouping implies visual units are joined by location and orientation. Containment is when a composition's edge or a boundary within it is a unifying force. Boundaries can contain elements such as motifs, textures, shapes, or spaces. Repetition is the occurrence of the same visual effect over and over. Repeating any element such as line, shape, and color creates the potential for unity. Proximity is the distance between visual elements. Closeness in proximity builds a tension that creates unity. Continuity. Viewers are inclined to continue shapes beyond their ending points. By moving from one shape or object and continuing into another, a fluid connection in the composition is created. Figure or ground. The perceptual tendency to separate whole figures from their backgrounds based on such elements as color, contrast, and value. Camouflage is when there is a deliberate alternation of figure and ground so that the figure blends into the ground. This is often achieved through the use of fabric. A simple example of this would be army fatigues. Fatigues are created in neutral colors such as tan and brown, as well as a little bit of green. This allows Army personnel or soldiers to camouflage within their background. Here's a few pictures of designs that make use of repetition, containment, and proximity. The first image to the left shows the repetition of fur on the model's outfit. The second picture shows piping or edging in white that is an example of containment. And the third picture shows shapes in the color green that are spaced apart on the bodice of the dress, as well as at the hips. This is an example of proximity. Closure. Our brains automatically fills in missing details of a familiar image or a pattern. Take, for example, a picture or a painting of the human face. The painting may not go in detail of every feature on the human face. However, our brain is able to make the connection and fill in the missing pieces. Order is locating, grouping, and assigning a size to visual elements relative to their importance to the whole design. Order can be anticipated or the designer can set it. The use of color to create unity. Hue repetition is the key to creating unity. By using single hue repetition in a sequential order, greater impact is gained rather than using the single hue sporadically. The arrangement of pure hues with shades, tints, broken hues, or neutral will also create unity within a piece. Integrating background and foreground hues by repeating foreground colors in the background of a piece brings everything together, creating visual unity. Related color schemes are also a great way to create unity within a piece. Monochromatic color schemes uses one hue with a varying value or varying level of intensity. Analogous color schemes uses one common hue. It's best when the common hue is a primary hue. For example, a designer may choose to use red-orange, red, and red-violet, with the color red serving as the primary hue. Greater unity is achieved when the primary hue is in the middle. Here's a photograph from a Versace collection where you can see how unity is achieved amongst the pieces from the collection. What do you see that makes these four pieces unified? The use of unity in fashion. Unity in fashion means that the structural, functional, and decorative levels of the design work toward a unified result. There is unity in the selection and the use of materials. The back of the garment works with the front. The garment parts work with each other. The garment proportions agree in scale. The design avoids conflict and competition by organizing attention around a central theme, and there is a sense of completion to the design. Mass fashion guidelines for unification. All shapes employed in the garment reflect the same quality. The placement of darts and seams should be consistent. Hem lengths of garment parts should match unless a contrast is planned in the design. Straight grain stripes and plaids should match at the seams and on the sleeves that hang parallel to the bodice. Again, style lines such as darts and seams should have compatible angles. Variety. Variety is the difference in the elements of design and in the comparison of one design to the next. Designers must successfully balance sameness and difference. This can be achieved by changing the character of one element, which creates contrast. The successful application of harmony results in unity. As a reminder, harmony is the visual agreement of a work that results in unity. Keep in mind that contrast creates interest, and interest holds a viewer's attention by arousing curiosity. So some contrast and or variety in a design can be helpful.